I hope this finds you well and that you find a great deal of prosperity in 2016. Today we're going to look at 10 Supreme Court cases of 2015. The Supreme Court looked at everything from same-sex marriage to police conduct, habeas corpus proceedings, and taxation in 2015. In this video, we're going to count down 10 Supreme Court rulings from 2015 that may impact your life someday. Let's get started. Number 10. Kingsley v. Hendrickson. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled that for a claimant to prove a due process violation for excessive force under the Civil Rights Act of 1983, a detainee with pretrial status is required only to prove that the government actor purposely or knowingly used objectively unreasonable force, and the detainee is not required to prove that said government actor was subjectively aware that the use of force was unreasonable. Number 9. Holt v. Hobbs. This case concerned the Arkansas Department of Corrections grooming policy. The policy prohibited inmates from growing beards, unless of course they had some sort of dermatological condition. One prisoner, a devout Muslim, wanted to grow a half-inch beard in accordance with his personal religious beliefs. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Arkansas's Department of Corrections grooming policy preventing the Muslim from growing a beard violated the Religious Land Use and Institutionalization Persons Act of 2000. Number 8. Horn versus the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture's California Raisin Marketing Order required that raisin growers had to set aside in particular years a certain percentage of their raisin crop free of charge so that the government could take the crop and do with it what they wanted. Their reason for taking the crop was to maintain an orderly market. The Supreme Court found that this requirement imposed upon raisin growers was considered a physical taking of property, and compensation must be paid to the raisin growers under the taking clause. Number 7. Jessenowski versus Countrywide Home Loans. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled that a borrower may exercise their right to rescind a loan under the Truth in Lending Act by providing written notice to the lender, here Countrywide Home Loans, within 3 years, and the borrower is not required to file suit within that 3-year period. Number 6. Reed versus Town of Gilbert, Arizona. In Arizona, there was a town that had sign ordinances which imposed restrictions on the size, duration, and location of temporary signs. These signs included political signs, ideological signs, directional signs for religious, charitable, or community events. The Supreme Court found that this was what's called content-based regulation of speech, and therefore the town of Gilbert, Arizona had to survive strict scrutiny, which they couldn't, and the Supreme Court ruled that the restriction violated the Constitution of the United States. Number 5. Young versus UPS. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled that a pregnant worker trying to show a disparate treatment claim through the use of indirect evidence can do so by following the McDonnell-Douglas framework. Number 4. Walker versus Texas Division of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The Supreme Court ruled that Texas specialty license plates were government speech, and that Texas did not violate any constitutional free speech guarantees when it declined to accept a proposed design for Texas license plates featuring the Confederate battle flag. Number 3. Comptroller of Treasury of Maryland versus Wayne. In this case, Maryland had a system of imposing personal income taxes on Maryland residents for their out-of-state income. The Supreme Court ruled that this violates the Dormant Commerce Clause because it results in the discriminatory double taxation of income earned out of the state of Maryland and creates an incentive to engage in intrastate, meaning in-state, rather than interstate, meaning out-of-state, economic activity. Number 2. Rodriguez versus United States. The Supreme Court ruled that absent any reasonable suspicion, the police may not extend an otherwise completed traffic stop in order to conduct a dog sniff. And finally, number 1, Obergefell versus Hodges. In this case, the Supreme Court finally ruled that same-sex couples may exercise the fundamental right to marry, and that states must recognize same-sex marriages that were performed in other states as long as they are valid. Thanks for watching.